Now, as we do so many weeks here at the Daily Dose, we need to get to our Daily Dose top 5. Hey, some genuinely sad and scary news this past week as Russian President Vladimir Putin officially ordered his country's invasion of Ukraine last Wednesday after greenlighting some sort of specialized military operation. Russian troops had been inching toward the border with the Ukraine, and Putin's recognition of the independence of 2 Ukrainian regions set the stage for last week's military action beginning. We decided to launch a special military action aimed at demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, is what Putin had to say. Hey, I'm not going into the politics and the reasons of why this is all happening. I'm not going into all the reasons for and against the United States' involvement in this huge mess. You can find that on my other podcast, the Daily Dose Foreign Policy podcast. But I did find something, once again, that brings this kind of back to the world of sports that this podcast actually does cover. See, unlike American celebrities who think they can make a video of themselves like singing Imagine or some nonsense, legendary Ukrainian boxing brother tandem Vasily and Vladimir Klitschko, they aren't making any documentaries with Sean Penn. They're not having a Zoom call commercial reading some goofy poem. Instead, they are actually going to real work, and they are doing some scary things. They are, in fact, on the ground in Ukraine, and they say they are going to be actually fighting with their countrymen and women to defend their country. They're also calling on the other countries in the world to assist civilians and stop Russian forces from their ongoing slaughter of the Ukrainian people. Vasily Klitschko is actually the mayor of Kiev, and they say he is currently on the ground alongside his brother Vladimir, who enlisted in the Ukrainian army to help fight and help try to keep their country's sovereignty. Now, the Klitschkos put together quite a record as a boxing tandem in the world of sports. Those two brothers have a combined professional boxing record of 109 wins, with, I might add, 94 knockouts, and just 7 losses, including 46 world title fights. Hey, those two guys make me think the Russians had better be real careful. If you think this is going to be easy, the Klitschko brothers might have something to say about that. I mean, the Ukraine might end up being a much tougher nut to crack than people might actually think. But hearing the Klitschko's involvement here, it also got me thinking, if I'm in the Ukraine right now and I see the Klitschko brothers fighting alongside me, I'm going to feel a lot more confident. But I actually am not from the Ukraine. I'm an American. So here's the question I have for you today on our Daily Dose Top 5. What American sports figures in history would you want fighting alongside you that might make you feel just a little bit better about going into battle? Today, our Daily Dose Top 5 counts down the top 5 American sports figures that I would want to go to battle with. And keep this in mind, this is when these people were in their prime. Time has no meaning here. We're just looking at all time. Who would we want as Americans to go into battle with us? Let's start off at number 5. And if I'm going into battle, I want someone back in that war room who's doing all the planning, all the plotting, all the scheming. Hey, if we're going to be out in the field, if we're going to be out on the front lines fighting, I don't want some idiot coming up with a plan. I need someone that is going to have my best interests at heart. But I also want someone that is capable of using whatever personnel that he has and putting them in the best situations to be successful. I also need someone who will do anything to win. Hey, who is someone that would try to win at all costs? Someone that might be great at scheming and coming up with a game plan to win. And honestly, I mean, this isn't a game. This isn't a sport. This is war. I don't care how they do it. Just get it done. So you come up with some film from other countries' military that maybe you're not supposed to have. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. You do what you have to do to win. So maybe he goes over to other countries and maybe he deflates their Jeep tires. I don't know. Whatever. If I'm going to battle for the United States, let me have NFL coach Bill Belichick doing some planning. Because I know that guy is going to do whatever it takes. And Bill Belichick comes in today at number 5. We move on to number 4. And while I want a good planner as we go to battle back in that war room, I also need someone who gets things done. You need to be strong. You need to be fast. You need to be fearless. You need to be tough. And honestly, you need to be a little bit mean. Well, our number 4 entry had all of those qualities, and this guy produced. Check this out. Michael Strahan and TJ Watt are tied for the most NFL sacks in a single season at 22.5. The great Bruce Smith has the most sacks in NFL history in his career at 200 sacks even. Well, thanks to nearly 30 years of research, Pro Football Reference has added sack totals for players that played before 1982 when sacks actually became an official NFL statistic. Up to this point, there have been some estimates of how many sacks people had recorded from some of the best pass rushers ever, but they were just kind of guessing. Well, Pro Football Reference actually did the work and came out with exact totals. According to their decades of research and film work, Los Angeles Rams pass rusher Deacon Jones is now unofficially credited with 26 sacks back in 1967. Now remember, in 67, he only played 14 games. Deacon Jones had 26 sacks in 14 games. Jones is also unofficially credited with 173.5 career sacks. That would be third most in NFL history if they actually, counted those. Here's what's crazy. Jones racked up those 173.5 sacks in only 191 career games. Bruce Smith got his 200 by playing 279 games. For comparison's sake, if Deacon Jones had played as many games as Bruce Smith, he would statistically have over 250 sacks in his career. That, my friends, is serious production. But like I said, I also want someone who's a little bit mean. Deacon Jones was so mean that he would use a head slap to get opponents to close their eyes, and then he could get by them. He would hit them in their head. Listen to this clip from NFL Films. Did you hear what he said? Did he really just say, if you hit a man or a woman? Play that again. He did. Deacon Jones said, when you hit a man or a woman. Was Deacon Jones trying to just be all-inclusive back before that was a big thing? I don't know what it was. Or was he giving advice? I don't have any idea. I don't know. I do know this. I want that guy on my side because he's going to hit whoever comes at him. And for that reason, Deacon Jones comes in today at number 4. We move on to number 3, and we reach another guy that I would go into battle with because I want a good planner back in the war room. I want a mean guy that has speed and strength and will slap anyone in their head, man or woman, apparently. But I do also want a planner in the field. I want someone that is smart. I want a tactician. I want someone who knows what to do before it even happens. Our number 3 entry knows the best way to attack the opposition because he has a mind like a computer. Former NFL quarterback Peyton Manning, he just had that mind. Peyton, honestly, he wasn't that great of a passer. His pass got there, but it really wasn't that pretty. He threw a lot of ducks. He wasn't even particularly over athletic. He couldn't run fast or jump or really do anything physically. But Peyton Manning's mind was so sharp. He knew exactly how to hurt you. He would plan. He would think. He would change his plays on the fly. He would direct traffic and get people to be where they needed to be to beat you most effectively. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I want on the ground with me. Plus, I have a question for you. Have you ever heard the old line, say you're with a group of people and you see a bear. You get attacked by a bear. Remember, you don't have to be faster than the bear. I just have to be faster than someone else. Well, I guarantee I can be faster than Peyton Manning. Plus, that giant noggin of his is going to draw some fire away from me. Peyton Manning comes in today on our list at number 3 because I think he would actually be quite helpful in this sort of a situation. And here's Peyton's big giant head right here behind me. Okay, so we arrive at number 2, and you can see we are putting together quite a little team here so far. We have Bill Belichick in the war room. We have Deacon Jones slapping people in their heads. We have Peyton Manning in the field. He's planning. He's moving people into the right formations. Well, now we add one more quality. Because in this situation on our top 5 today, I want a winner. Hey, these poor people in the Ukraine, they're not playing some silly game. This is way more serious. And our thoughts are genuinely with all the people around the world that are being affected by this. But on this list today, I can't take a chance on someone who might lose. I need someone who knows how to come out on top. Well, how about we take a guy that has more rings than fingers? Because Bill Russell played 13 seasons in the NBA. I want you to think about this. Just 2 times in that 13 years, his season ended without a championship. The other 11, he won it all. No one can compare in the winning department to Bill Russell. He played 2 years ever that he didn't win the title at the end of the year. That's insane. 11 championships? No one's come close to that. But it wasn't just that. Bill Russell, after his playing career, then coached for 8 years and he won 2 more rings. Bill Russell had 13 rings. He almost had enough rings to fill 3 hands. Yeah, I need to win in this situation. Bill Russell won. And sometimes he beat more talented players. Sometimes he beat more talented teams. It didn't matter. Bill Russell found ways to be on the winning side of things. Oh, I would definitely want him with me if we have to fight. For that reason, Bill Russell comes in today at number 2. So we reached the number 1 person on the Daly Dose top 5 of Americans that I want going into battle alongside me if we actually have to fight. And I'm taking this number 1 guy for a few reasons. One, in his prime, he was very, very good. I mean, this guy could get into a phone booth and he could do some serious damage. But more importantly, he brought something else to the table. Because our number 1 guy brought intimidation. And in something as scary as this, if I can scare you a little bit, that might help my side. Because you could see back in his prime, bigger, stronger men climbing into the ring against Mike Tyson. And you could tell they wanted nothing whatsoever to do with that Tasmanian devil. They were beaten before the fight even started. I mean, if you're scared to death before the battle ever begins, yeah, that's going to be good for my side. And make no mistake, like I said, Mike was talented. Mike could do damage. And if nothing else, Mike might bite you. He might kick you. He might try to eat your children. He wanted to intimidate you. Yeah, Mike Tyson is going to bring a little fear into play. And in this situation, I think I like that a lot. Hey, in all seriousness, we wish the best for all those affected by this scary situation, and we hope that here at the Daly Dose, we can take your mind off of all the craziness going on in the world, at least for an hour each week, by talking about some subjects that are a little more fun, but nothing in comparison to things going on in the real world, some scary stuff going on out there. If you are listening to this podcast right now, you are dealing with tough situations. Hey, I wish you and your loved ones health. I wish you safety, whatever it is that you are going through. Okay, YouTube, be sure that you go out and check out the rest of the podcast. This week on The Dose, we are actually looking forward to this NFL offseason that is already underway. Like the Super Bowl just ended a couple weeks ago. Offseason is already going. We have some dates for you to keep in mind. Plus, we have some big questions for this NFL offseason. We also have some college football news that's not very good. And March Madness is nearly here, and I'm telling you right now, it is going to be insane. So be sure you go out and check out the rest of the podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.